Hey everybody, Adam from Atlas Gunworks. Talk real quick today about buying a used gun. 19 and 2011s are expensive. Really good ones cost a lot of money. The parts cost a lot of money. Buying a used one might make sense. I started shooting, my first gun ever was a used Edge, and then I had a used SBI gun. So we like used guns. We understand that that just works better for some folks, and it's in their price point. So we'll start with the top. Open guns are vastly more complicated in how they're going to run and the timing than limited or single stack guns. So this is a customer's open gun that we just bought or just brought in, and this gun took forever to fix. And he's in the first 100 club, so we hooked him up, and we did it on Friday afternoons, kind of when nothing else was going on, so he didn't have to pay the full boat. But this gun had to have the breech face re-welded. The gun didn't close properly. The front end of the gun wasn't clearanced right. I mean, just a boatload of work to make the gun work right. This gun was only a year old, and the guy he bought it from swore it ran and ran and ran. So the key with open guns is your best bet is to buy an open gun from a guy at a regional club that you're in, and you know it works, and you've seen it run, and you've seen that the gun cycles properly. In all three guns, the most important thing is the barrel fit. If the barrel fit's really bad, you're going to spend so much money fixing the gun that it doesn't matter how good your deal was. So make sure that the barrel fit was done well. A lot of times, the tolerance stacking between the slide, the barrel, and the frame will have, you'll have some gun builders who build lots of good guns and they get a bad tolerance stack on those three things and they have a bad barrel fit. Barrel fitting is probably the trickiest part of this whole process. And there's a lot of folks who put guns together and really don't know the ins and outs of the tolerance stacking for barrel fitting. So make sure the gun's got a good barrel. If you can see the gun beforehand, I would take it apart and look for excessive wear on the barrel. If you've got weird spots where it's wearing on one side of the top lugs or one side of the front, and you've got some wicked scratching or something like that, then that's probably a good indication that the gun doesn't have a good barrel fit. So that's open guns. You're probably best to know that it's run. And I would say to somebody, listen, you gotta let me shoot 500 rounds through it with a return policy with open guns, because there's so many that just don't work the way they're supposed to. So then talk about limited guns for a minute. Limited guns are probably the easiest of the group to buy, as far as as long as the barrel fits good. Any of those other problems are pretty easy to fix. Again, I would look to buy one I knew that ran, and then with limited guns, best to buy them. Open guns too, this is a good idea, is to have a package with mags. So the guns are picky. Most of the guns are picky about mags. Most of the guns aren't cut to take the new SV style mags. So with all of those things spooling out there, if you can get a package that runs, then you're up and running, and that's good. On single stack guns, there's a couple things to watch out for. We talk about it in some of the videos, but the bullets do what we call stacking. So when you have more than 10 and the slide comes forward, the bullets tend to dip and hit the ramp and stop. So the barrel fit in a single stack gun for a 9mm or 40 caliber is ultra important. And if it's not perfect, the gun's never going to feed like it should. And there's a couple of drastic measures we can take to try to correct for that, but they're expensive, they're time consuming, and if it's fit so poorly that those measures don't correct for the problem, then we're out of luck. I mean, you're getting a new barrel. So on single stack guns in 40 and 9, I would be really cautious. So many of them have feeding problems when you have more than 8 rounds in the gun. So again, find something that you know runs. If you've got a gun that you could buy on the internet for $2,000, and there's a guy down the street who's got one that for $2,500 with some mags, and you know it runs, that $500 is probably worth the insurance. So the math on the deal starts working. You FedEx a gun to me, $75. I'm going to ship it back to you. It's going to be at least $50 to $75. So we're out $150, let's say, right before we even do any work. And you can spend a lot of money quickly in having us, chase down problems. And so we're big advocates of shooting a lot of rounds through the guns, both our builds and the test guns before they go back. And bullets cost money. So, if you're going to pay me to shoot 100 rounds of .38 Super through your gun, you're going to be out a couple of bucks because we tend to just buy the 38 Super. So, food for thought. If you have any problems, we're here to help for sure, and we're always happy if somebody shoots us an email and says, "Hey, what do you think?" I would avoid super old guns too, and then I would also look at the round count. So when somebody says a gun has, let's say, 10,000 rounds on it, probably double that number. The real number is probably double, or at least that's your safe thing. So I look at them at buying a used car. If the useful life of a gun is somewhere between 75,000 and 150,000 rounds, and it's already got 50, it's not worth a lot. But if it's only got 2,000 or 3,000 rounds and it's fit well, then it probably has a fair amount of life. And then the other part is the quality guns, your super high-end guns, something we made, something SV made, something Limcat made, will go longer mileage-wise because everything's fit properly and everything's smooth. So you're going to get some higher round count out of some of those guns than you are, a factory gun, let's say. So all of that's a factor in how much you spend, because we're always just benching off, well, should you have bought a brand new one? So hopefully that's helpful. I would say on the open guns, your range is 75 to 125,000 rounds before it needs a barrel, and then at that point, you probably best to get rid of it and get another one. Dollar-wise, throwing barrels at these can get expensive. Same thing on limited. Your limited 40 cals, you're going to go somewhere probably close to 100 to 150,000 before they need a barrel. 9mm limited guns or single stack, limited and single stack are the same. They're going to go more like 125 to 175 before they need a barrel. And so the limited gun's a lot simpler to put a barrel in them, and you can usually get away with just doing that. So again, we're here to help. If you want to shoot us emails and ask questions, we're happy to help. But if you buy a limited gun or an open gun or a single stack gun, buy it from somebody you've seen it run, or we'll let you test fire it. And if you test fire it, put 300 or 400 rounds through it. And then the only other thing to look for is to be cautious of guns that only have a couple hundred rounds. So if somebody puts a gun together and it's not properly put together, a lot of times they'll hang on for about 1,000 rounds before all the problems start showing up. So you're better to get something that's got a little break-in periods, say 1,000 to 2,000 rounds on it. Hope that was helpful.